Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have something slightly different for you. We took a trip to Eastleigh where we saw the Protechnika AMG GT4. So we have Anna here who's going to go through a few things and we're going to find out a little bit about Protechnika as a team and their plans for the future. So Anna, welcome to Sandown Mercedes-Benz of Poole. First time here, and we've got the GTR behind us. Slightly different to your car, I'm sure, but what are your thoughts on that?
It is. Well, thank you for having me, firstly. It's great to be here. Nice to see the showroom. And great car placed in the background. Similar to the race car, but you know, not exactly the same. So the Mercedes GT4 is based on the GTR, but of course we've got upgraded specs in terms of suspension, brakes, tuning of the engine. But effectively, that chassis there is what my GT4 race car is based on. And
as we touched on at the start of the video, we've obviously visited Eastleigh, Brookspeed Automotive, where your car is based, and it's certainly a lot louder than that version. Yeah, good fun. It's good fun to look at and good fun to hear as well. So we're going to go through a few things then. Firstly, we wanted to just touch on your history and just cover that off. So when did you start racing? Started at 11 in karting. Okay. I quickly became recognised as a sort of up-and-coming talent as a female driver, and I did karting for about 4 or 5 years, and then went into T-cars at 14. Okay. And became the youngest female racing licence holder at 14, and had a real love affair with saloon cars, because T-cars was effectively a saloon car for young junior drivers. Dabbled with single-seaters, did a bit of Formula Renault for a year, and then decided I'd go switch back into GT cars, and more recently have focused on British GT for the last 4 years, running with Ginetta, and now Mercedes as my new endeavour. So tell us a little bit about Protechnika then, because obviously you have ultimately started this team. How hard a transition has that been to go from primarily being a race driver to all of a sudden managing a full-blown race team? It has its challenges, but from my point of view, being from the racing seat side of things, and I've done the driving side for most of my career, jumping to the other side of the fence and running a race team, I can really put my demands, if you like, on what I would expect a race team to deliver for me. Sure. I can now take that ethos forward and install that into the team that I've got around me, and then encourage the drivers that I want to nurture, the talent that's coming through the ranks from karting that want to go GT racing. From a driver's perspective, I've really got that understanding of what I think they want from me, and make sure that I can deliver that. Now, from the race team side, it is completely different, and I'm always itching to get back in the car, but equally very rewarding when the drivers that are racing for us are progressing, are doing well, and I get just as much a buzz of doing that and seeing them progress and do well than me actually behind the wheel. So will we see you behind the wheel at all this year? You might do, yeah. I don't think I'm done quite yet. The focus will be on running the race team. Of course. But perhaps for some longer 24-hour races and 12 hours, I can jump in the seats. Yeah, so Sandown obviously sponsor the car. What was the reason for choosing Mercedes? Going back a few years, I originally bought a Mercedes from Sandown, based down in Surrey, a few years back. So my relationship was there anyway, as in I knew of the group and the dealership. Mercedes as a race car, I looked at the overall package and the support service that I could get, primarily from Germany, as in parts, and they were second to none and have been brilliant as in support to me as a new team. So Mercedes from the competitive side as a GT car, and then the after service outstanding. So hence why I went to the Mercedes product. Just to point out, so she drives an AMG GT4 on the weekends and you daily a GTS? Yeah, that's it. Nice. It's not a bad daily, is it? No, it's not at all. So let's talk about racing in general then. So how do you prepare for a race weekend?
Testing is key, especially at the level we're at. So British GT is what we ran in last year. There is a testing ban throughout the season, a week before each race weekend, but up until that point you can test as many times as you want. So preparation-wise, testing with the car and developing the car for the drivers, it's setup-wise as to what works for them and also what works for the team. And driver-wise, it's a lot to do with fitness, mental preparation away from the track. Simulator training is key now, and that's really come into it for the last few years.
Right, okay. So Silverstone on Tuesday, whether this video will be out before then or not, I don't know, but obviously I will be attending, so really looking forward to that. What sort of things will you be looking to test at Silverstone? I know primarily it's for the drivers to test the car.
It is, yeah, and I can't say yet who the drivers are.
Of course.
The announcements are going to happen soon, but we are testing those drivers at Silverstone. We've got a 2-day event, and really the idea for us is to get used to the drivers, they get used to us, they get to know the car, and I guess it's a bit of an assessment from both sides, drivers and team. We've all got to gel together, and we really want to get some lap times out of the car, out of the driver, and do a little bit of development work ready for the season ahead. Yeah.
So the season starts at Alton Park then in April. With that in mind, is there anything in between now and then that you're focusing on?
For us it will be test days, making sure that the car is ready for the first round. We will go to Alton Park for preparation wise. The car will be announced in its new livery soon as well. So there's a lot of things that are going on in the background constantly until our main event, which is Alton Park. So between now and then it's all hands on deck and working hard for that announcement.
So we know obviously Mercedes as being a premium brand, obviously a leading brand in Formula One. What are your expectations this year, and where do you see yourself finishing?
So last year, first year of Mercedes, we managed to get a second in class at Spa, and we were constantly in the top 5. So I don't think, on the back of that, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect a top 5 finish in GT4 this year. That's where I'd like to be.
So where do you see Protechnika in 5 years' time? What's the plan?
I would like to say we've got a championship underneath our belt.
Of course.
With many podium finishes. But quite simply, I would like to be a team that nurtures up-and-coming future talent. And whether it's pulling drivers from out of karting into GT racing, or whether they've done GT racing and they want to come to us to, elaborate on their skill set and go into 24-hour races. I'd like to be that team that's able to do that and put on a really good show and a great service.
So would you say a stepping stone for new drivers?
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
So that pretty much wraps it up for this one. We're going to be obviously going off to Silverstone, and there'll be another video to follow from that. But Anna, thank you, and we wish you and Protechnika all the best for this season.
Thank you.